Hi. I'd like to spend a few moments just talking about the difference between a traditional office therapy visit versus a clinical life coach or a clinically informed life coach. And one of the things I'd like to share with everybody right now is there is not a right or wrong around this. What is correct for one young adult may not be right for another young adult. Statistically speaking, inside of PASIA Life, one of the things that we see is that about 1 in 10 of our young adults will continue to see a traditional therapist in a traditional setting. And historically speaking, there's more than what I'm just going to mention here, but oftentimes what you see is when a young adult's dealing with certain past traumas, maybe high levels of addiction or recovery work, and or eating disorders and that sort of stuff, is that a young adult will actually do well to continue in a very traditional modality of office-based therapy or group therapies and things like that. Outside of that, what we oftentimes see for the most part is that a clinically informed life coach is actually able to do stronger work, better work in real time. And this is why. Let me give you an example. Let's assume that I actually have a social anxiety disorder, and at the same time, inside of my personal goals and my tutorial and my life dream, I want to get a job. And in that process of getting a job, when I go to interview with some stranger, I actually feel a ton of anxiety, social phobia. I start to feel avoidant. I might even start to self sabotage, or I might just shut down altogether in those moments. So if I'm going to go talk to my traditional therapist, and maybe I have an appointment scheduled with that therapist every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m., but my job interview is today at Thursday at 10 a.m. And so the difference between a clinical coach and a therapist in this moment in time is my clinical coach might come pick me up, say at 8:30 a.m. before my 10 o'clock job interview. And we might drive together. They might actually look at, do I have my collar straight? Did I brush my teeth? We might start to do some meditation or some mindfulness exercises or some forms of DBT types of therapy exercises right in the car, in the parking lot, sitting outside of the place I'm going to go interview. We might even role play and job, kind of practice. We might test the, how's my handshake? Am I able to look my other person in the eye? And the clinical coach is actually building up my self-efficacy. They're building up my confidence in that moment in time. We're practicing real skill sets in real time. And of course, that coach cannot walk into the job interview. That's a little weird. But what they can do is sit there and wait for me. They can help prepare me, send me off, and get back to me. And when I come out of the job interview, now I get to talk right then, right there in real time. I'm carrying all the data, the details. How did the job interview go? Did I freak out? Did I get anxiety? Did I step up? Was I able to use my skill sets? Did the role plays help or did they not help? I can practice all these different stuff, but not only do I have the real data right here on Thursday morning at 10:30 now, let's say, a.m., and I'm able to process it, but the emotion of that moment is also alive. If I succeeded and I hit some home runs, I'm feeling exuberant, and we're able to give each other high fives. We're able to celebrate what really went well. If we're not able, I didn't do so well, we're able to really work through those moments in real time about what happened. How could we deal with it better next time? Could we practice something differently in all these other different skill sets? Now you take that with a clinical coach versus my interview at 10 a.m. on a Thursday versus my next appointment with my office therapist next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Next Wednesday at 10 a.m., I'm still going to walk in, and my therapist is going to extract from me. They're going to pull it out of me. They're going to help me work through this, but it's old news by now. In fact, by the time we get there, if I had some negative experiences in the job interview, I might have beat myself up for the last several days to the point where the reality is that now the therapist would actually need to spend a lot more time with me to help me draw out and pull back out and get back into a solution-focused modality. And not only that, but traditionally an office therapist has a time frame. If they have an appointment with me at 10 a.m., they have another client coming in at 11 a.m. And so even though they're scheduled for me for an hour, they're usually going to cut that off about 10:45 or 10:50 so they can take some notes, put in their notes about what happened, what we did, and it's still going to take the full hour. And usually they go to the bathroom before they begin their next session. Well, again, there's not a right or wrong behind this, but I could give another 25 to 50 other examples of why life coaches that are there in the moment, that are embracing the messy, doing the real life stuff with a young adult in real time becomes important. So often I'll hear parents say something like, well, I called my son and asked him what he did today, and he said we went on for a hike, or we just went and did a job interview today and that's it. Or we went golfing today or skiing today and that's it. And if we actually put the life coach back on the phone and said, hey, so tell me a little bit about what happened today. And they're going to say, well, during the job interview process, these are the three major things that we worked on, we practiced, what we've worked on overcoming. When we went on the golf course today, or when we went skiing today or surfing today, these are the things that we actually worked on today. So oftentimes parents will hear, this is, I just went for a hike today. Life coaches are actually going, my goodness, we went for a hike for 5 hours, and these are the things we worked on during our hike. So anyway, that's a quick snapshot of an overview about the difference, and we always welcome your questions. Thank you so much.